Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Tower of God New World. In today's video, we will be organizing the brand new updated tier list, and in this tier list we are going to add the brand new SSR character Leroo, and we're going to add in the brand new SSR plus character Child Yuri. But before I do that, we have a brand new code. Now in this code you can get a free SSR character, your own choice. So it's going to be a free SSR selection chest. So I'm going to go ahead, come over here to my profile. We click our profile, we click the settings button, and then we click the, I completely forgot. If we come over here, I'm pretty sure, okay, there it is. I am blind. Enter code. So we're gonna wait for it to load up. And in the code, I'm gonna go ahead and paste it right here. This is the code TOG 401 event. Basically, April 1st. So I'm gonna click use, click confirm. There it is, April Fool's Day celebration SSR selection chest coupon. So I'm gonna go back, and then I'm pretty sure it will be in our bag, actually no, in our mail. And there it is, free SSR chest. So I'm gonna go ahead and claim that later. I'm not gonna claim it right now, but that is pretty much our brand new SSR selection chest. Now let's go ahead and hop on over to the tier list. All right, so as you guys can see right here, we have the brand new updated tier list. So nothing pretty much changed in this tier list. Like the last time I updated the tier list was the last Vicente video I made. Ever since then, I have not touched this tier list because I feel like every character so far, they've been the same. Everybody's been the same. Everything's been running smoothly, so there's just been no changes at all. So you guys already know the drill. We're going to make an overall tier list. This is the overall tier list, and then after we make the overall tier list, then we're going to switch on over to the green element updated tier list. So let's go ahead and talk about Child Yuri. So if you guys haven't watched my Child Yuri analysis video, I feel like Child Yuri is a pretty strong DPS unit. She's really good, but the biggest problem with her is, of course, you need some investment. Like, I feel like at the early phase of the game, she is an absolutely insane unit because she can basically solo, which is crazy. She can solo, she can one shot. She's a crazy unit, but for her passive, it is a double-edged sword because she is going to target the unit who has the highest attack. But most of the time, if she's not able to eliminate the opponent who has the highest attack, she can get one-shotted. So depending on how many copies you have on her, Child Yuri, her survivability will be an issue at the end game because of her passive. Even though she can get rid of the enemy with the highest attack, she can still get one-shotted. So I feel like that's like the biggest con with Child Yuri, is the fact that her passive just kind of ruins her survivability overall. And I'm pretty sure you need you need 3 red stars minimum in order for her to actually survive with that passive. But the thing is, even with 3 red stars, she can still, get one-shotted against purple element team comp because she got absolutely shredded by Joaquin. So Joaquin can actually destroy her. So there are definitely going to be some units who can, counter Child Yuri. So I feel like the best spot for Child Yuri for sure would be 100% the S tier spot. And the reason why I put her in S tier is because, like I said, she is an SSR plus unit that's going to require a decent amount of copies in order for her to actually work and survive. Yes, she is broken, but at the early phase of the game. Once you reach at the end game, you're going to realize that her survivability will be the problem. And survivability is a huge thing when you reach the end game. When you reach the end game, you want to make sure that your characters, they're able to stay alive for more than 10 or 15 seconds. If they're not able to stay alive for more than 15 seconds, then that they don't belong in that S plus tier. Like all the units you see right here, they have potential to survive for at least 15 seconds. But for Child Yuri, with no copies, she will literally get one-shotted by the unit who has the highest attack. So I feel like the best spot for her would 100% be S tier. Now for the next character, we have Leroo. Now this support unit, he is actually pretty solid. Now he is not a broken support unit, but he does his job. But I will say the biggest thing that I like, the number one thing I don't like about Leroo's kit is the fact that for his special skill, the buff, like the additional attack and defense, it's only going to target the unit who has the lowest HP. And that just doesn't make any sense, because it would have been better if his special skill targeted the unit who had the highest attack. Basically, he would target the main DPS unit and he will give them additional attack, which would allow him to do more damage. But the fact that it targets the enemy with the, not the enemy, but the fact that his special skill targets the ally with the lowest HP, he will basically apply that buff to anybody. He'll apply that buff to a support unit, a tank unit. It's just crazy. So I feel like the number one thing that is holding him back is his special move and his first active skill. I feel like the first active skill is just completely pointless, because he's not a damage dealing unit. So including damage in his kit is kind of pointless. So his first active skill is also useless. But the main thing that makes Leroo good is the fact that he's able to increase basic attack. And on top of that, he's able to increase magic pierce. So he's going to be a really good unit to pair up with magic damage type units like Rachel, and multiple other magic damage type units. So Leroo, I'm definitely going to put Leroo in that A tier. I feel like A tier is a good spot for him. The reason why I don't put him in S tier is because there are so many things in his kit that are kind of useless. Like the first active skill where he's doing some sort of paralyze. Yes, that's decent, but for a support unit, that's kind of pointless. And for his special skill, the fact that it targets the ally with the lowest HP is just so weird to me overall. And another thing as well is the fact that he is a melee unit. If he was support, then it would have been a lot better for him to be a unit, a long range support unit. But the fact that they made him a melee support unit, that can ruin his survivability. So that's like the main reason why I would put him in that A tier, is because the melee just doesn't match well with him, and sometimes he can get one-shotted. So Leroo, I feel like he definitely belongs in that A tier alongside with Ron May, because he's kind of similar to Ron May. All he does is buff magic pierce, basic attack, and provide the barrier to your team, and that is basically it. So I feel like this is a solid overall tier list. Yeah, it's looking actually pretty nice. So let's go ahead and move on over to the green element tier list. All right, so when we take a look at the green element tier list, I already organized the characters who are already in the game, and I already put them in their own respective tier. So all that's left is Child Yuri and Leroo. So that is a hard, as you guys can see, that is a hard is the only S plus tier unit, and the reason why is because, of course, that is a hard is like one of the main SSR plus units that requires 0 copies. Like he's literally good with no copies, and that's why he is S plus tier, because he's a unit where he can do whatever he wants because he's just broken. So that is a hard 100% belongs in that S plus tier spot. And then for the rest of the characters, that's their own respective tier. And of course, guys, this is solely based off of my opinion. If you guys disagree, feel free to, but this is how I feel overall about the green element characters. And the reason why I have Lozelle in S tier is because of her passive. Like if you are trying to run a green element team comp, you need a character like Lozelle, because she's going to amplify your damage dealing units attack. Like she's going to increase their attack and allow them to do a lot more damage, and on top of that, she is going to heal. I'll say the only downside with Lozelle is the fact that she is a melee unit. If she was like a long range unit, Lozelle would definitely be in that S plus tier for sure if she wasn't melee. But the fact that she's melee, her survivability can get in the way, because you know she's a melee unit, and it doesn't make sense for a support unit to be melee, since their job is to keep the team alive and to buff the team as well. So I feel like S tier, she definitely belongs in that spot. And for me seeing and this guy right here, I feel like they both belong in A tier, because you know they're both similar, like they one shot, so they both belong in that A tier spot. And of course Shalil, Shanae, they belong in that B tier, because Shanae with high investment, she is a pretty good unit with high investment. But unfortunately, since she's a collab unit, there's just no other way. Like there's just no putting Shalil in S plus tier, S tier, A tier, because you can no longer get copies on this character anymore. So she's permanently in that B tier. And Shalil, B tier as well, because her survivability is just so bad and she's extremely squishy. But her damage is like S tier level. Like she has insane damage dealing capabilities, but her survivability is just trash. And for the rest of the characters, yeah, they're just below on the tier list. Now let's go ahead and talk about the new characters. So first things first, we're gonna talk about Leroo. So when we look at this tier list, and when I look at Leroo, the best spot for Leroo on this tier list would 100% be in that A tier, because this is the thing. He increases magic pierce, and on top of that, he increases basic attack. So Leroo definitely belongs in that A tier for green element, because he will definitely increase the potential of green element DPS characters in the future. Like whenever there's going to be a magic green element DPS unit, you definitely want to pair them up with Leroo, because he's going to increase their magic pierce. But the only problem, of course, is the fact that he is a melee support unit, so his survivability can get in the way. So I feel like A tier is definitely the best spot for Leroo. He is a decent unit overall. Now when we move on to Child Yuri, like I said, Child Yuri, she's pretty much similar to Punisher Rin. She is an amazing unit once you have a lot of copies. Like if you are able to bring her up to at least 3 red stars, she is for sure in that S plus tier. Like I'm not even gonna lie, she's in that S plus tier for sure once you reach 3 red copies, because she's insane. Like she can literally solo and do like insane crazy damage. But remember, she is an SSR plus character, so it's gonna be hard to level her up to 3 red stars, because she's SSR plus. So the best tier for her in this tier list will 100% be S tier. I'm going to put her in the top of S tier, because she just does insane damage. Like she's crazy, but there's only 2 cons, which is she needs a lot of investment, and on top of that, her passive is a double-edged sword. So I feel like this green element tier list is pretty accurate. Like that is a hard being S in S plus tier alone. That's pretty accurate. And the reason why I replace meta with S plus tier is because I feel like units who are in A tier and above are meta. So that's the main reason why I took off meta, because units who are in A tier above are meta. S plus tier is just to pretty much show, which unit is the strongest. So this is pretty much your green element team comp tier list. Not even team comp, but this is pretty much your green element tier list overall. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and if you guys have any objections, if you guys feel some certain way, please put it in the comment section down below, and feel free to share your opinions. But anyways, I'll be ending the video at that. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't. I'd really appreciate it, and I'll be catching you guys on the next one. Peace.